access to the media there on the South Lawn as he gets ready to get on Marine One. He's headed down to Dallas, Texas. In fact, my next guest is from Texas. Let's get reaction from Republican Congressman Louie Gohmert of Texas, a member of the House Judiciary Committee. Always good to see you, sir. That was unexpected. This president does this a lot. A press availability, and he made some news there. I kind of want to unpack this in order. And this, by the way, is a live picture of the president getting on board Marine One. So excuse me 1 second to our guest here. He is Joint Base Andrews in Maryland there. He's going to Dallas, Texas for two reasons. One, he's going to be checking in on Hurricane Harvey recovery there. And he's also going to be having two fundraisers for his party. And so he'll be attending those tonight. So we bring you these live pictures as the president gets ready to depart on his way. So he's already landed on Marine One in the time that we were showing you that video, and now we're on Air Force One. Let's go back to the congressman if we can. And I just get your idea, if we can, Congressman Gohmert, on what this president is talking about today and where he is. He's talking about real unity, he says, on Capitol Hill. Not bothered at all by the upcoming departures of a couple of senators. And I want to get your idea on this. I know that's the Senate side, but it's got to be talked about on all the Hill.
Oh, sure. Everybody's talking about it. But yeah, let's face it, he was very critical of Corker, and he was exactly right in everything he said about the Corker Deal. Corker turned the Constitution upside down. It requires 2/3 vote to ratify a treaty. The Iran deal was a treaty, and yet the Corker bill said, no, it'll take 2/3 to vote it down. So the president has throughout the campaign been very consistent and been exactly right. That was a terrible deal for the United States. We give them $100 billion or so in cash that they can use to, I was just at the funeral of one of my constituents who was killed by an IED in Iraq, and we know most of those are made in Iran. You can't help but wonder, is some of the money that President Obama sent back overseas being used to kill my constituents? I mean, it's a grievous harm that was done by the Iran deal, and I thank God that the president is I hope, about to nix the whole thing. It was never properly ratified.
So sorry to hear about that loss. Of course, we hear about them, unfortunately, far too often. Prayers out to that.
He was a great young man.
All right. I think I spoke over you. Please say his name again.
It's Specialist Alex Misseldine. He's just a great family, great kid, just a great man.
Okay.
But thank you for asking.
No, absolutely. You know, I want to move on and talk a little bit more, if we can, about what the president said, though, about the departure of Jeff Flake, because it was something that I certainly noted, and he said, look, I think he'll do the right thing in the end for the country, vote for tax cuts. I mean, now you have an issue where you have people who are leaving the party and leaving their posts at a time when votes have to happen.
Yeah, well, because, you know, Jeff, we've had differences on ideas of amnesty and things like that, but I feel like he's always been true to his convictions and beliefs, and we just had some differences of beliefs, like the president has, but I think he will do the right, noble thing. That's what I would expect, and that's what the president's saying. And yeah, the president needs his vote. Actually, America needs his vote on the tax deal. We've just got to get that help to Americans. We promised them, as the president did, every member of the House, Republican member, we would get Obamacare repealed. We hadn't gotten that done because of the Senate. We promised them tax reform. I hope and pray we're going to get that done. And we promised a wall. We promised a secure border. Well, it looks like the wall and the border is, the president's doing what he can without the support of Congress, but that has got to be done. And so tax reform basically is the 1 out of 3 that we really better get done this year, especially in light of the Speaker's announcement yesterday that he's going to stick DACA onto the spending bill in December. That's dangerous stuff. That's not
the president
what
was
we
asked
ran
about
on.
that. You say that's not what you banked on.
No, it's not what we ran on. And in fact, the president was elected. Basically, he never promised that he would deliver DACA as an entitlement and a continuation. So I think the president all along has anticipated, surely before Congress would send him something like that, we would first make sure the wall was funded and built and given him all the tools he needs to completely secure the border. And we've given him some, but he doesn't have everything he needs. That has got to be done, and I would hope and pray we do that before we take up that spending bill.
You know, Congressman, most Americans in their jobs don't have the option 15 months out just to stop working, and so that's going to be the big question. What will Flake and Corker do with regard to all of these issues that are part of the Republican agenda and the president's as well? From the great state of Texas, the president's going there, and we have the Congressman Louie Gohmert. Thank you for your time,
wish I were with him, but we're here in Washington. And by the way,
sir, I don't want to cut you off. We've got to go, but we'll bring you back soon, I promise. Stay quiet.